What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Everything Travel Nurse Show, starring Travel Nurse Scary. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the summertime rates right now. What's going on? Why are they dropping so low? But Travel Nurse Scary, the rates are dropping fast. There's so many travel nurses. What if they find one for cheaper? The demand is low. Will they cut my rates? Quick! Apply for a staff job before they all run out. Alright, you guys, listen, that last one I thought was pretty funny. Listen, we're going to cover all that in today's episode. You don't need to freak out. It's all coming up next here on the Everything Travel Nurse Show. Alright, you guys, go directly into the video. I want to start off by actually asking a question, and that question is, during summer 2020-21, we didn't see rate drops like we do here in summer 2022. Why is that? And to help explain that answer, I want to actually bring in a real economist this week and have him explain it to you guys. This is our guest star.
Demand is strong and bottlenecks and supply constraints are limiting how quickly production can respond. In particular, bottlenecks and supply constraints are limiting how quickly production can respond to higher demand in the near term.
These supply bottlenecks that we've had, and that includes
nurses. And in case you guys don't know, hopefully you do, that is Jerome Powell. He is an elected official in the United States Federal Reserve. He's the chairman of the board, and he's actually elected by Congress to do his job. His job is to maintain maximum employment and maintain inflation rate level of about 2% in the US. And what I want to really coordinate is that during the last 2 years, we've really seen those bottlenecks and supply constraints of nursing staff in the hospital systems during 2020, 2021, and that's why the rates stayed high, to motivate nurses to stay in there. And now that we've really seen these hospital admissions come down in this year, summer 2020-22, now we see those rates coming down because this demand for nursing is really remaining quite low, on the low side right now. Do I dare say that? Knock on wood. And we see that the supply is relatively stable right now, which is really strange for nursing. So another thing that I want to add on to this is understanding, for all of you new nurses out there who are into the travel nursing field, maybe you're having some anxiety right now, like trying to understand like why the rate was dropping. I'm having all this anxiety, I need my Xanax. Listen, you don't need your Xanax. Let's just educate ourselves and stop and say, this is the normal, okay? Prior to COVID, this is what happened during the summer. Those hospital admission rates dropped. So as they drop, the rates for travel nurses drop as well. Supply and demand. It's always a supply and demand issue, and that's what caused those rates to go up and down, and they're always fluctuating, going up and down. You never know what's going to happen in travel nursing, and that's just one of the things that I truly love about travel nursing, is that you never know what's going to happen to the rates. You see the littlest, tiniest problems in different states, and there's all sorts of supply and demand problems that we see in different states. I remember during the pandemic, I seen a huge rate that was above the normal rates was Omaha, Nebraska, and I couldn't figure out. I'm like, why is this contract in Omaha paying so well? And then I went down to my ICU, and I went down and talked to a bunch of the new nurses. 8 of them were from Nebraska, from Omaha. And I was like, oh, so yeah, there it is. The reason why you see that Omaha rate higher than everybody else is because, well, the staff's right out there at this hospital in Arizona for winter, and they're enjoying this nice winter weather here in Arizona. So remember that supply and demand is always shifting and changing all the rates that you see all across America. One thing that you can really do to help yourself as a travel nurse is stop and say, well, I can go national. I can go everywhere. I can go to California, New York, Alaska, Florida. I can go wherever the rates are, and that's building that adaptability as a travel nurse. It's one of your best assets that you can do to really diversify your portfolio and diversify yourself and say, I can go anywhere. I'm adaptable. That's what I do. I'm a travel nurse. That's what you do. You're a travel nurse. And always try and make yourself more adaptable. Always have your portfolio be a little bit better than everybody else's. That's what I always do. I've practiced in 7 U.S. states, and I can go anywhere. I mean, the rates go up here, the rates go down here. I can go and adapt in any environment. And that's one of my most valuable assets as a travel nurse, and that's something that you should pick up on as well. Oh yeah, look at that metacarpal vein. It's so big a student nurse can hit it. It's so big that an ER nurse can hit it blindfolded. You know what you can also hit? That like button. It's easy, cheap, and free. And it also really helps out my channel, so I appreciate it. Now this is the part of the show where we're going to take a closer look. Every week's going to be a little bit different what we look at, depending on where my mind decides to take us. But there's different aspects of travel nursing that we just don't always think about that really do deserve a closer look. What I want to do in this week's closer look is talk about one of my contracts that I took prior to the pandemic, and this would have been 2019. I remember it was a summer contract, and I was talking to the manager during the interview process, and he was talking to me about the hospital and how everything works, and I remember him saying to me that they had adequate staffing, and I just looked at it like on the phone. I'm like sitting there talking to him like, well, if you guys have adequate staffing, why do you need me? I mean, like, I don't want to take the contract because you're going to cut me. I remember he specifically said during the interview process, like, well, listen, I need you to come into this contract just so I can get vacations out to these nurses. And man, I was like, that's awesome. You're hiring me to send everybody on vacation. Heck yeah, I'm going to take this contract. And he sold me like on the spot right there, like I wanted the contract. And I remember when I went and did that contract, I let everybody know, like, hey, I'm here to put you guys on vacation. And everybody loved me. It was an awesome experience, awesome hospital. I had a great time. And listen, the nurses really, really enjoyed me. When I told them that I was there to put them on vacation, it changed the entire atmosphere of the hospital, and I had a really great time. So make sure that you inquire about what you're doing during these contracts. It's just a little inside tip here on the Everything Travel Nurse Show. So, in conclusion, what I really want to say is that it's normal for those summertime rates to drop. Anticipate it and plan out your year so that you always remember to yourself the summertime rates drop. In accordance to this dropping in the rates, I want to go to Italy in July. I don't want to go to Italy in July. Everybody goes to Italy in July. The lines are tremendous. But just stop and think about those little things. Do what you want to do and plan that out accordingly. That's all we've got for this week's episode. Subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future. Like if you thought this was valuable content. And share with the nurse.